Hey guys, this will be the third part of the beach shaker molds that we poured last week. So I have my waves already finished and they're cured and dried. So first off, I was going to make this a magnet and I completely forgot, lost track of time, and I forgot to set my magnets in before the epoxy got too hard. So at the very last step, I will just take some UV resin, apply a magnet, and cure it with my UV light. So it'll stick out just a little bit, but I'll use a thinner craft magnet so it doesn't stick out too much. But I usually like to insert them when the epoxy is almost cured but still soft enough. If you do it's too soft, then your magnet will sink to the front and you don't want that. So this one is going to be a little bit longer of a video, but I'm going to try to make it short. I was going to do both, but I am only going to do one today just because if not it's going to take quite a bit more time. So I have my acetate paper. It's just a film, a clear film. They have several different kinds you can get. And then, so you'll need that. I used a wet dry erase marker. So what I would do, and I've already done this, but I take my mold and I set it over the top and I use a wet dry erase marker to mark and do an outline. So that's your stencil. So then after you get your stencil done, you want to cut it out. Now, it will be the size of this, maybe a little bit bigger. So I try to cut inside the line just a little bit because when you put this film on, you want to make sure that it's covering, but there's still a little bit of an edge. It is okay if it's not perfectly even because you're not going to really see the film when we're done. So this is what we have so far. You can add whatever you would like into yours. I am going to add a little starfish and a couple shells. And then I like to use thick, chunky glitter. This has no small mix in it. I like this just because it moves a little bit better. And then I'm going to use some of these little bubbles. We're going to play around with bubbles and see what happens. You will need, I use baby oil for my water mixture. Some people have different types of things that they use, so I just use baby oil. Baby oil makes things move a little bit slower. You'll also need some UV resin, which I just got this from Amazon, and then a UV curing light. That is the easiest thing to use. And then take it outside and let the sun hit it for a few minutes to finish curing. Excuse me. So since I already have my everything ready and prepped to go, the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out like where I want my starfish and stuff like that. You want to make sure that anything you put in here does not stick out over this lip. You want the clear protector to be able to sit flat. So please make sure that whatever you decide to use, you use small enough and thin enough things. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my UV. I'm just going to put a little drop right here, just like that. And then I'm going to close the cap because UV with the light will cure anything. So I'm just going to set that there, kind of move it where I want it, just like that. And then I'm going to take my UV light and I'm going to set it over there for a few seconds and it's cured. So it's not going anywhere. Oh, I lied. It's not done yet. So about 30 seconds is what they say to use. There we go. Okay, so you've got your starfish down, so now we have to figure out where we want our shells. The first one I did, I had the shells moving, but I think for this one, I really want to put UV and UV them down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this isn't going to stick up over the lip like that. So you just want to look at it straight on, and if it does, then you don't want to use it, or you need to use a smaller shell. So beans, this one is okay. Another way to tell is to put your stuff down and set this down. If you notice that sides aren't touching, then it is too wide. So I like that there. So we're just going to add a little UV, just a little drop. Doesn't take much. And I like to just place it on the edge. Move it around in there to where you want it. Just like that. I think I like that. And we're gonna hit it with the UV light for about 30 seconds to get that shell to stay in place. Now, some shaker molds, there we go. So some shaker molds have this little pin drop area that you can use to fill your mold. These do not have it, so therefore it has to stay flat when you go to fill it. So the next step, we have what we want in here. So what I'm going to do is I just have a big bottle of baby oil, and I use a syringe, and I have the little thing down in here, and I just put it in, tip it upside down, and I've got about 5 milliliters in here right now. So, and I'm just going to very, very carefully, without getting the sides wet, I'm just going to add a little bit of oil. You don't want to, and don't do what I just did and squirt it everywhere, but that's okay. We got the, I'm making a huge mess, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's try this again. I hope you guys are not laughing at my expense right now, because I just made a huge mess. A huge mess. And we're going to move this paper over. So here's the thing with this, is I do not want oil on this when I get ready to epoxy or UV it, use my UV resin. So we'll have to make sure that's wiped off really well with some alcohol and paper towels. I cannot believe I just did that, you guys. See? Even I make mistakes. Actually, I make them a lot, so bear with me. Okay, so now that we got a good laugh, let's try that again. So we have a little bit, I don't know if you can see, let me see if I can lift this up without spilling it. We've got a good little layer going, okay? You don't want to overfill it, and you don't want to underfill it. Most shakers that have the little pinhole to where you add the oil, you will, it's easier to add more. But I kind of, when I did this, I really liked the, yeah, I'm getting all that oil off real quick, guys. This is gonna be your pop quiz, by the way. So, watching this, you guys are gonna laugh, so stay with me, stay tuned. Okay, so that right there, don't freak out, that is not my, that is my wet dry erase marker from when I traced around it. And that's why I use a wet dry erase marker, because it just wipes right off with wet stuff. So right now I have just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add just a few of these. And this is called Decatur. It's beautiful, from Mr. Nola's. So I'm just gonna tap a few down. That's about it. I don't want to add too much. So you can see I'm kind of moving in there a little bit. And we can add more if we want, but we're gonna add some of these little cool bubbles. These were just a sample given to me to play around with and see, so we're just gonna add some to it. I have no idea how these are gonna react into here, into the oils, but we're just gonna pour some in. Let's see what they do. They are so tiny. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So now, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna add more oil, guys. And pray I don't make a huge mess. So, is anybody else's, some of my things just don't come out easy. And I'm just going to keep adding until it's not all the way to the rim, but almost. See what I did? Okay, and I am almost to the edge. I'm going to try to squeeze out a little more, a few more drops. Here we go. Okay. Guys, I'm like making a huge mess tonight. Okay, so I want to stick those back in there. I want to wipe off any oil, because you do not want any oil whatsoever on the edge. You want a nice clean edge for your UV to seal to, okay? So don't do like I did twice. And so I kind of looked eye level, and unfortunately, I keep making a mess. I needed to add more. So, probably because I'm spilling it all, right? You guys, I'm making a huge mess tonight. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm just using a little bit of alcohol on a paper towel, and I'm not getting the paper towel into the oil because that kind of defeats the purpose. And I'm kind of going around and making sure there's no more oil because I'm done adding oil. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait to show you these little bubbles. They're actually really cute. So, and I'm really debating on adding a few more. So let's do it. Why not, right? Might as well. This might be easier. Okay, plenty. Okay, so now the fun step. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make sure there's no oil. See, I've got a few, nope. Okay, so my rim looks clean for the most part, you guys. So what I'm gonna do next is, I'm gonna wipe this off just a little bit more. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a ring of UV vinyl, okay? And then we're going to place the clear sheet of paper on top. We're gonna cure it for about 30 seconds. Then what I like to do is I like to dome the top, and then so we'll do that next, and then I'll talk for a few, and then I will take this outside and I will let it finish curing out in the sun. It is so hot today, so it'll cure really well today. Okay, so when you add your ring of epoxy, you want to make sure you do not miss any sections, okay? You want to make sure you have a full solid ring, but nothing too thick. You just want just a small solid ring all the way around, And I like to go from both directions just because I feel like if I meet, I'm going right along the edge. You just don't want to have any gaps. If you have a gap, that is when your shaker will leak. So look at it from every direction possible. I'm filling it. So I'm just gonna go every angle, and I'm just gonna kind of just barely squeeze and make sure it's all on. Now try not to do this part in the direct sun because you will, so that's the back, and then the front has this like, film, like right here. It has like a film on it you want to peel off before you place it. And then you're just gonna set it down on it and then tap it all down into the UV. And you want to kind of work fast at this because if you don't, your oil and your UV can seep out. So I'm just pushing down just like that. Now, I'm not going to lift it up. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this cure for a second. And this is just a UV flashlight. You can get them on Amazon. I've never done a shaker mold with anything other than UV. So that I couldn't tell you if you're wondering. I have no idea. So, okay, so that's the first step, okay? Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our UV and we're gonna dome this. So we're gonna make a we're gonna just add just stuff right over your clear. Just like that. And we're going to move this stuff around. Doesn't have to be perfect. It all levels out. It's really cool. If you haven't worked with UV, it's kind of cool. I like it. And it lasts a long time. So I'm just bringing it over to the edges. And I'm doing what's called doming. I'm just going to get to the edge. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little more. Don't feel I have enough on here. And there's no mixing involved in this UV. And I'm just going right along the edges, making sure all the edges have some epoxy or UV resin, I'm sorry. Just like that. Then I'm going to tap it with just a teeny tiny bit of heat. Not much, enough to pop any bubbles that's in there. Very, very, very little heat. And then I'm going to cure it. I'm gonna give this a few seconds extra because of it being a thicker coat. So then what I'll do is I'll take this outside and I'll let it finish curing in the sun for about 5 minutes. And then I'll add my magnets, and I'll just use the same UV resin, and I will add just a drop, put a magnet in, and put it over my light for a minute. So if you watch these videos, you do know that I post on the puzzle page when I've created a video. So, beings, I have made a mockery of myself today and made a huge mess a couple times. When you watch the video, okay, I'm gonna, let's say, give you till Friday. If you watch the video, I want you to comment back on the puzzle page where I post the link to this video and tell me what I did wrong. Tell me the oopsies I kept doing. Make a little comment on my little blurb mess up that I kept making a mess with. What did I make a mess with? Everybody that comments by Friday, I will put their names in a drawing for a prize. So my mess up is your gain, guys. I cannot believe I did that. But I have so much trouble with those. Like, they just want to like come out all at once. So anyway, this is the finished shaker mold. I don't know, can you see those little bubbles? How cute is that? And then, like I said, I'm gonna set this outside and let it finish curing. Look at those bubbles. How fun is that? I'll set it outside, let it finish curing, and then I'll post a picture once the magnets are on it and stuff like that. So anyway, that is how I do my shaker molds. So, like I said, my mess up is your gain. Get on Puzzle under the post where I put this link and tell me how I made a mess today. And everybody by Friday will be in a drawing for a prize. So, have a good day, guys. Thanks. Bye.